Star Wars only. I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
It looks like EA did it again and made the Star Wars fanbase mad. If you recall, back in 2016, they announced an open-world action linear adventure game made by Visceral Games. Well, eventually, they shut that down. They shut down Visceral Games, and the project got transferred over to EA Vancouver, who was working on the game, but they were rebooting the game. So it's a completely different game at this point, but it was supposed to be an open-world Star Wars action-adventure game. Well, now apparently it's been canceled, and this is coming from Kotaku.com, and they say that EA has canceled a Star Wars open-world game, and this is coming from 3 inside sources that are familiar with the project. Now, there's an updated version of this that has come out last night, and the source is saying that more people familiar with EA Vancouver's now canceled open-world Star Wars game, the project was originally titled, or it was codenamed, Orca, which I don't think is the greatest name, but definitely an interesting name. I will give it that. Orca was in very early development, and it would be involved playing as a scoundrel or bounty hunter who could explore various open-world planets and work with different factions across the Star Wars universe. Now, I think that's a great-sounding Star Wars game in my opinion, so I don't know why they would cancel this, but hey, whatever. So inside sources are saying that they canceled Orca in favor of a smaller-scale Star Wars project that's now aimed for a much sooner, likely late 2020 release date. And the article goes on to talk about how that's most likely when the next generation of consoles should be coming in, which makes me feel really fucking old, so thank you for that. So what does this mean? Well, the Visceral game that was being made was rebooted, and it was turned into something else by EA Vancouver, who decided, I guess it's too hard to make, so they canceled it. And instead of it being released in maybe 2021, 2022, or 2023, it's going to be released in 2020. But it's not going to be the open world game. It's going to be a smaller scale Star Wars game. Now, that's not official. That's just what inside reports are saying, and that's the planned release date. So it looks like right now, at the end of 2019, we're going to get Jedi Fallen Order, made by Respawn, and at the end of 2020, we're going to get another Star Wars video game. And that's interesting, but it's a smaller scale Star Wars project, so we don't know what it's going to be. But EA came out with a response to Kotaku's article, and it's very interesting the words they chose for this response. Now, they came out with a statement on January 16th, today, the day that I'm recording this, a day after the article came out, and they said, "There's been speculation overnight about one of our Star Wars projects. As a natural part of the creative process, the great work by our team in Vancouver continues and will evolve into the future of Star Wars content and games. We're fully committed to making more Star Wars games. We're very excited about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn, and we'll share more about our new projects when the time is right." So what does all this mean? Basically, it means that, hey, Jedi Fallen Order is coming out this year, and you shouldn't really worry about anything else. That's at least what EA is saying. They're being a lot smarter when it comes to their statements compared to what they did with Battlefront 2. And I'm having a big problem with this. I understand a lot of people are mad about the game being canceled. If you recall my Star Wars The Fans vs. Disney video, we talked about this at length, how it was postponed indefinitely. And honestly, if you know anything about stuff like that, you would know that the game was never going to be anything worthwhile after that anyways. So I'm very disappointed, and I think EA is just making horrible business decisions. They've had the licensing rights for Star Wars games since, 2013? And it's a 10-year contract, so it goes out in 2023. So you're telling me you have 4 full years left. It's January 2019 right now. That's 4 full years until 2023. That's when the contract runs out. You have 4 years to come out with, I don't know how many more games you want to come out with, but from the track record, it's taken you 6 years, because they've had it since 2013. It's 2019 now, but it's 6 years ago. They've had it for 6 years, and they've come out with 2 games, Battlefront and Battlefront 2. And I don't think either of them are really that good of installments to the Star Wars franchise itself. So now they're coming out with Jedi Fallen Order this year, and after that we may get another game in 2020, but nothing's official. We don't know anything else. So these next 4 years by EA, I personally see only room for maybe one more game after the Jedi Fallen Order. If they can squeeze something in, let's say they start developing another game in 2020, they can probably squeeze something in before the contract's over, but I don't see the plan, really. I don't see the roadmap ahead that they're talking about. I just don't understand what's supposed to come out next after this, and that's fine if you're not going to plan on releasing anything, but if you're going to have the rights for a license like Star Wars for 10 years, I would expect more than 3 games, and 2 of them being copies of games that came out previously. So I don't get it. I don't get it.